Voices from the rainforest. Welcome to the Rainforest Rescue podcast. Rainforest Rescue is active from the forests of Borneo to the corridors of Brussels, supporting our grassroots partners and amplifying their voices. Today, we're speaking with Amien. He's an environmental activist from Sulawesi, one of the richest and most beautiful islands in Indonesia. Sulawesi's mountain and mangrove forests, along with its seas and coral reefs, are home to animal plant species found nowhere else on Earth. For generations, Sulawesi's indigenous peoples have lived in harmony with nature on their ancestral lands, protecting these unique ecosystems. But things are changing dramatically. Digitalization and the rise of electric vehicles has caused demand for nickel to explode. Hundreds of mines have appeared. Chinese companies process nickel and dump their tailings into the sea. Forests are being destroyed along with the homes of forest communities and the habitats of wildlife. Stay with us as we hear firsthand what's happening in Sulawesi, why it matters, and what the future might hold for this remarkable island. Hello, Amien. Welcome to the podcast. Could you start by telling us a bit about yourself, where you're from, and what your work involves?
Indonesia has at least five big islands. I live in the one of the big islands. The name is Sulawesi. My organization is WALHI Sulawesi. In Sulawesi, there are five provinces. So we agreed to join in one coalition. The name is Alliance Sulawesi. So I am the coordinator.
What is it about Sulawesi that makes it such a unique and important place?
This island is very unique, very also essential because half of the island is the forest, the rainforest. A lot of people depend on the rainforest. I drink every day from the water from the rainforest. But the most people, especially indigenous people, also still live in the rainforest in Sulawesi.
You've been traveling around Europe. How do you find the living situation here compared to Sulawesi?
When I went to the German from Netherlands, I saw many points of the forest, but I didn't see people live there. People live outside from the forest. It is like a forest, other area between the people, between the community settlement. Indonesia, they live between trees. They live inside a forest. In European forest, I just see many trees like pine trees. In Sulawesi rainforest, there are many endemic flora and fauna and small rivers, flora that people use for medicine.
You described how the rainforest provides water and supports entire communities. Could you share more about the specific ways people in Sulawesi rely on the rainforest for their daily needs?
Forests in Sulawesi also produce food for the people, managed by the people, by the farmers, or the women especially. The woman is the main actor protecting the rainforest, manage the forest for getting food and especially for getting the medicine. Every day they enter to the forest, look for food, and also if there are some families sick, they not go to the hospital, but they go to find medicine from the forest. The people who live in the forest, they can live because of the forest. Rainforest gives an essential source for the people so that people can manage the land and produce the food.
It sounds like the rainforest means a lot to the people.
More important things is how people and forests have connection each other. So rainforest and community of the people, when they interaction, they produce knowledge and culture. So people can use the forest for education, for produce knowledge, traditional knowledge or traditional Indigenous culture. So that's why they communicate and give appreciation to the forest. And because of the interaction, there is a faith between people and forest. They feel that they are the forest. If forest damage, they will also damage.
Sulawesi is also known for its nickel resources. How important are these deposits globally?
Sulawesi has many sources, not only rainforest. In the underground of the forest, there are many mineral deposits, and one of them is nickel. Many countries has also nickel deposit. For example, Russia, Australia, Philippines, they have nickel deposit as well. But 27% nickel deposit in the world there in Indonesia. And 67% of nickel in Indonesia there in Sulawesi. So Sulawesi is the epicentrum of nickel deposit in Indonesia. And we have to say that also in the world.
In the world, how does nickel mining in Sulawesi connect to the products and technologies we use in the global north?
It's very easy to see the nickel production in our daily activity, in our electronic tools like a camera, handphone, laptop. So there is a nickel component in our electronic tools. Apple, Lenovo. When we research about supply chain of nickel from Indonesia, especially from Sulawesi, we see that many electronic companies get the nickel production from Indonesia. However, now we're facing the big problem after the rich countries announced that they want to do energy transition from the fossil fuel to renewable energy, many companies come to Sulawesi, submit permission to get concession in the forest. Why? Because they want to extract, they want to mine, they want to export to the many countries to contribute to the energy transition in the world.
Amien, can you tell us which are the major companies involved in the nickel extractions in Sulawesi? And what is the impact on the local environment?
Germany automotive company Volkswagen, Volvo, Hyundai, Toyota, Tesla, all of because now automotive companies want to change their production. They want to produce electric vehicle. They want to stop fossil fuel, oil, gas. So we face the very sad situation where the forest will be damaged by many companies because they want to extract or exploitate the nickel deposit in the ground of the forest. After Indonesian government announced that Indonesia will not anymore export raw material, especially nickel, many companies asked permission to the government to build factory, to build nickel smelter, so they can exploitate the forest and mine the land so that they can sell the nickel to the smelting factory. They want to expand because the global demand. So 100,000 hectares already damaged. Now more than 300 concession issued by the government. It means that government give permission to the many company to destroy the forest.
You've mentioned the environmental costs of nickel extraction, but some say nickel is a sustainable part of green energy. What's your perspective on this?
If they promote that nickel is sustainable and green energy, it's not true. Nickel extraction is dirty business. It is not sustainable system. First, they have to mine the land, so they have to cut the trees, they have to evict people, they have to move the people. When the people didn't want to move, they have to intimidate by military or police. So they mine the land and they bring the land to processing in the factory to divide between the land and the mineral.
Nickel is not only being mined in Sulawesi, but smelting is also being done locally. What effects does the nickel smelting process have on both the environment and people living nearby?
For the smelting nickel, the factory use captive coal energy plant because they still use coal on processing, on running the factory. Many people die in the nickel industry because they don't have protection from the company. But they cannot also move or leave from their job because they need for still live. Company need worker, company need people to work and run their business. Without worker, the factory will not operation, no profit. Worker also have to work because their resource is already damaged. Their land is not productive more, so they have to also work. But I have discussed with several workers in nickel industry what their problem, and many workers said that we get the salary is not equal with the risk that we face. They only get 4 million rupiah. It is like 250 euros per month. Before company come, we could live well, we could live sustainable. We could live without problem. We can still eat rice. We can access vegetable. We can buy fish and chicken. So I think without company we can still live.
Amien, from your experience, what are some of the direct impacts you've seen from nickel mining in Sulawesi?
Mining activity, pollution, brown in the river, pollution in the coastal, smoke from the factory and the captive coal power plant, suffering, poor community suffering. We see the mine contaminate the water in the river. Heavy metal also polluted the coastal. Some rivers in Sulawesi contaminated by hexafluorine chromium. Hexafluorine chromium can make people cancer. The impacts or the problem because of this extraction, these activities, very multi-dimension, not only to the people but to the environment. Like yeah, community cannot speak free. I personally always get from many part from the military, police, bad guy who support the company or who support this system. They want to ask me to stop my activity, my effort to defend rainforest, to protect community livelihood, especially the women and generation. They do the best for on protecting and defending the, the rainforest. So it is like ecocide. They destroy rainforest, they pollute river, the river water consumed by people, and people get the cancer. Meanwhile, in the European, the people live very happy with their electricity vehicle. It is like proud use electricity, and then he say that I care to the environment, I respect to the nature and to the generation because now I'm not using fossil fuel vehicle. But it is not true because in the reality in Sulawesi, the damage very massive. The destruction of the people, livelihood and environmental is very massive.
With the growing demand for electric vehicles and batteries, what are your thoughts on the global push for nickel and lithium?
We heard that Global companies wants to develop electricity bicycle, electricity motorcycle, electricity car. So if they very ambitious to do it, they need very much cobalt, they need very much nickel, they need very much lithium. And I don't believe with the certification of the companies. How they can say their company, their extraction, their mining green, meanwhile community aren't affected. The companies only make certification for the getting good name and good track record. But the implementation, they don't do that. They not monitor the mining activity, the plantation activity. The orientation of the companies is not for the people, but for the profit.
Amien, given everything you've described, the environmental, social, and cultural impacts, what steps do you think we should take to tackle these problems and protect both people and forests?
We have to discuss very meaningful to make sure how we develop a good system of the energy without make suffering people in the developed country. Not only the animal or the trees that live in the forest will get the impact, but people who live and depend of the forest also will get the impact. Not small impact, but very big impact. Because they will not only destroy the forest, but also destroy the culture, destroy the community, especially their knowledge, their connection to the forest. Rainforest can reduce carbon in the world, so we can also live well in other countries. So European people also depend of the rainforest in Sulawesi Island because if rainforest in Sulawesi damage, they will contribute to a climate crisis in many countries, also in European. The solution in the consumers, in ourselves, in the people, reduce our consumption because more consumption make a problem for the environment. Reduce our consumption, reduce our ambition to use A, B, C, reduce our consumption. Use what we need. If you have one laptop, maybe, please don't add two or three, not thinking to buy a private car, but they use massively public transportation. And I see in the European public transportation is very nice, is very good. They can connect us to many places. So it is about the thinking as well. Yeah. So you can also help or protect community and environment, especially rainforest ecosystem in Sulawesi, in my country. Also the government, because the government is main actor to make a system. We depend of the government, of course, but we need good government. We need governments who respect the human right, to environmental sustainable, to livelihood of the people. Like yesterday, we walked around in Berlin city. We see the wall, peace wall, and government protect the peace wall. I hope that the government in Indonesia also protect the rainforest. Government in European protect historical building. So Indonesia nature. Both of them have to be protected. We need the people, the organization in Europe who spend their time, their power, their energy, their thinking to defend, to protect the rainforest and the community. I invite journalists from European coming to Sulawesi to see directly the situation and inform objective information to people in the European so they can also see directly how the impact nickel mining, nickel factory. I invite also the researcher, academician from European, so that they can also research and look directly the situation in Sulawesi, so that they can give government objective information and objective suggestion for stopping this bad reality.
You mentioned the importance of international corporations. What role can European governments and organizations play in addressing these issues?
So I hope that also European government can lead and can make a sustainable system, not only for the European people, but to the development country people, for the global south people, because we also want to live well and sustainable. We want to still see rainforests exist in our country. Our children, we want to bring them to the rainforest and learn them of the rainforest knowledge. And please make the good system so that rich country can sustainable. Also, people in the developed country also can live well, can live sustainable. Use your knowledge for the environment. Use for knowledge for saving rainforest and community livelihood.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners? Or any message you'd like to leave us with?
This earth not only for you. If you believe God, God create this earth not only for you. Don't be arrogant. We live in the earth, not only us. There are many people who want to live as well in this earth. Nature created for us, for all of people. I really appreciate and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Amien, for sharing your experiences and insights with us today. We really appreciate your time and perspective. Voices from the Rainforest.